night.
Mm-hmm.
The only was when at the end of the recording day or at the end of the business day, Bowie would take the makeup off and just walk around as normal, and Mark Bolan would still dress crazy in glitter wherever he went. So, but those two amongst them, and in the early 70s, or as the 60s turned into the early 70s and glam rock started, without a doubt, I mean, Bowie was the man. Bowie was the man.
That is amazing, and he also had revolutionized music as well too. And of course, you know, with some of the punk rock out there, and if you hear today's, so give us some of your thoughts on today's punk rock compared to what you grew up before.
Well, that's a difficult one because I'm such a punk snob and so stuck in my old school ways that I don't really listen to the new stuff. Doing a show yesterday, though, I played some Green Day and I played some Offspring, and I started researching a little bit deeper. And I believe punk rock was on its last legs in 1990.
Mm-hmm.
When I emigrated to the U.S. in 91, I wasn't listening to punk, and in all honesty, no one was listening to punk around the world. The occasional old school band playing here and there. And then we had that second explosion. We had Green Day all of a sudden. We had The Offspring. We had Rancid. And it put the word punk in a kid's mind.
Right. And it later became alternative, so it's kind of like just, you know, in a sense it's still there, but they just gave it a different name.
Yeah, but what it also did is because the word punk was back and punk was being played on radio stations, old punk started getting played on radio stations. Old punks started getting their bands back together again, and all of a sudden people wanted to see them. The Rebellion Festival in Blackpool, Punk Rock Bowling in Vegas. I don't think it's a coincidence that those festivals started just after that explosion of those bands came back again. I don't think people give Green Day, Offspring, Rancid, even Blink-182, who I couldn't stand. But it put the word punk out to the teenagers. And once you put the word punk out, you cannot not use the word the Ramones. You cannot not say the Sex Pistols, the Damned, Iggy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, punk rock was back again. It was back again. And when you look, Punk Rock Bowling is in its 26th year or something. The same with Rebellion in Blackpool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, punk rock around the world with 100,000 people there.
My gosh. It almost sounds like packing the Rose Bowl, too, in Los Angeles, over 100,000 people.
Yeah, I don't think it will happen here, but, excuse me, I know in South America, it's crazy the size of the crowds at the punk festivals. In Argentina and Brazil, crazy. You know, I mean, even the local festivals here. I went last year to the one up there in San Bernardino.
Mm-hmm.
From 10 in the morning till 12 at night, just non-stop on 4 stages. And the place was packed.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And it's everywhere. It's not going to go away. It's
Mm-hmm.
there forever.
Yes, I'm sure it would be, too. And, of course, you mentioned about the, the bands playing in South America, Argentina, and everywhere else. And have those bands from out of the United States have come on Kaotic Radio, or have they you play their music on them, or have you connected by Skype or anything like that with those bands?
We do with the bands in England. The South American ones, not so much. It was funny you say that because we have a great show on a Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock called the Black Lung Show on Kaotic with Ryan Pena.
Oh, nice.
And the new owner of Kaotic was in Mexico recently. So he found a Mexican punk rock vinyl store and bought back of Mexican punk. And last Sunday's show, that's what they played. They had no clue what they were playing, but they just played Mexican. And it was interesting, really interesting listening to the difference between it. It was hardcore. It was fast. So it was, but it was great. And yeah, we do that. We do go outside of the regular. We don't care what people think. If you don't like it, you can always turn it off. But there's something about doing something different. To me, that it's not about being successful, it's about being different. And hopefully one day that will become success. But we can all listen to regular radio all day long and the same old songs over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. We try and get away.
It does sound amazing, too, and, of course, makes me want to put on some Mexican punk right now. But before we do that, we'll turn our attention to the Mike Wagner Show. Listen to Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com. Powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Looking for a professional website without breaking a budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@SonicWebStudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Evan Fine of the Senior Reserve Group. When you start a business or own a business for a while, who are you going to call for sole proprietorship insurance? Why not call the expert, Evan Fine of Senior Reserve Group? He also specializes in Medicare and long-term care insurance. Evan can be reached at 1-800-650-9357. That's 1-800-650-9357. Or even email to Evan Fine at seniorreservegroup.com. Licensed in 7 states, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Delaware, South Carolina, and Florida. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on MikeWagnerShow.com. Also, check us on Facebook at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can also download and listen on SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, watch the interview on YouTube as well. We're here at Kaotic Radio's Dutchie Hollands talking about Kaotic Radio. It's been going on for over 30 years in Los Angeles and talking about the many programs on there. He's also a soccer fanatic, grew up on a lot of punk rock. And, interesting, we talked about Mexican punk and just makes me want to listen. I hope you're trying to find some songs for the next show. And, of course, jumping from Mexican punk and getting our kicks into soccer. And, just tell us about once again, how you got involved in soccer and what was the moment that you really got into it?
Well, as a kid, Mike, as a kid, I was lucky to be growing up in the environment I was. But at the same time, I had a horrific injury that put me on crutches for 4 years as a 4-year-old. So I wasn't allowed to play any sport. I wasn't allowed to do anything. I didn't realize why. I was a 4, 5, 6-year-old. Mm-hmm. But in the end, I just went, screw this, and I threw the crutches in the corner and started playing. And a few years later, started playing in a local, like a competitive soccer as a kid. And when I went to high school, all of a sudden my career took off. And at 14, I was signed with a professional club. At 16, I was playing professional soccer.
Nice.
I never made it into the major leagues. I was in a professional organization. I played in their second string, and by the time I was 20, I was all done. I was playing semi-pro. I was enjoying it. I was loving every moment of it, and I did that for 8 years until I came to the state. Mm-hmm. Then I played for my local pub team, and then I got into the coaching side of it, and the coaching side of it really got me excited, and it inspired me. And now I end up, I've stopped coaching teams because I have become an instructor with the United States Soccer Federation. So nice. I now get to teach the coaches, which is a different thing altogether. It's so much more fun than dealing with all those angry parents on a Saturday afternoon, that's for sure.
Well, luckily you don't have to deal with any World Cup prima donnas or anything like that. And also I was going to ask you as well, too, that when you played for a professional team on second string. And who did you play with at the time? What was the name of the team?
There's only one famous person that came out of that team, and he's really only famous if you know the game. His name was Neil Warnock, and you see him on the TV every weekend now because he's a coach in the English Premier League with Cardiff City. So I didn't play with anybody famous. Mm-hmm. Which is a boring answer, I know. But the reality in the UK and most European countries is there's close to 100 professional teams. Mm-hmm. You know, we only get to see the glamour side of it on the TV with the Premier League and things like that. Mm-hmm. Kind of boring, if you like, the career I had, trying to tell the story of it, but a lot of fun as a kid. You know. Mm-hmm. So I came to the States actually having no clue what I was coming into. I came to the States just because. I came for no reason except for to see New York City and California. And then I ended up learning a lesson that I think only a stupid Englishman could learn. And that's that when you get on a bus in New York City, it's going to take more than 8 hours to get to the West Coast. And seriously, do not think I'm kidding you. I got on a bus, and I know that the United Kingdom, I can get on a bus and be at the other end of the country in 12 hours. I bought a return ticket from New York to San Diego, and I had no clue that bus trip would be 4 days long.
Oh, my goodness.
24 hours a day. So I ended up just getting off the bus after a day, and it took me 3 weeks to get from coast to coast. I just partied like a rock star. I had a bunch of in my back pocket, and I just partied like a rock star all the way across the country into San Diego. I ended up living in this part of the country, and then in 1992 I got deported, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. And I spent 24 days in El Paso immigration jail, or I should say holding facility, before being shipped back to the United Kingdom, and then came back here legally a year later, and I've never looked back.
It almost sounds like that you really wanted to be in the United States, but you ran into some interference as well too. And
yeah. Great word, yeah.
And of course, there was another question I want to ask you as well too. That how do you compare the in your point of view? How do you compare soccer in England to soccer in the United States?
Soccer in the United States is a work in progress. It's I love what the United States Federation are trying to do, but it's tough, and what they're trying to make the game the predominant sport in the United States. That's their goal. Uh-huh. That's going to be difficult, don't you think?
I do agree with you on that one. There's been a lot of upstart leagues, and of course, growing up, I remember there was NASL, which is North American Soccer League. Of course, you had the New York Cosmos, you had Chicago Stings, San Diego Sockers, LA Aztecs, and then that eventually evaporated about maybe 10 years afterwards because of greed, and I think another league came up, but that folded, and now I got the MLS, which is Major League Soccer. It started with 6 teams, and all of a sudden, you got about, now what, 30 teams or something? It's like, I've just about lost count, and I've look at teams, I'm like, holy cow, who are these guys?
Oh, they're doing an amazing job. You look at teams like Atlanta, mm-hmm. the average crowd is 50-something thousand.
And he used to play at the old Georgia Dome, too, at one point before that tore down. And I think they're playing in, that new Mercedes-Benz stadium.
They're playing in the new Mercedes-Benz arena. And they're a new team. They've only been going for 3 years now. Mm-hmm. And the owner is the old guy from Home Depot who built Home Depot.
That's Arthur Blank. He also owns the Atlanta Falcons. That's right.
Right. So, he wanted to get MLS, and he's amazed, and I think everyone is, at the success they're having. My only thing as a true soccer fan is the product on the field just